Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wimbledon Spiritualist Church Divine Service. I extend a warm welcome to Jason Rothwell. Jason, welcome to our church this morning. And I have a slight confession, everybody. I'm not at Wimbledon Church. The church is closed. Jackie and I, with the family, we're having a few days break in Bristol. But Ashley's managed to put the church window on the back there, so you're not seeing the nice house we're in. And looking forward to a great day today. Unfortunately, I've had to close the church because nobody could cover doing the service for us. But I wish you all a warm and loving welcome. And Jason, I hope you enjoyed being with us this morning.
Oh, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for accepting. So, friends, I would ask Jason to open our meeting with prayer, please.
Yes, thank you. If you would just like to join me in the silence and go to the place inside you where the spirit world connects with yourself and where your God resides. Gracious and divine spirit, God of all gods, light of all lights, highest truth of all truths, I ask that you join with us in this space. And though we may be divided by material life, I ask that you unite us as a congregation, as a church. I ask for myself that my guides, my inspirers, loved ones in the other world, join with myself, and that together we may become of one essence and form a bridge of light between our world and the heavens above. I ask for our elders, our children, and those who cannot care for themselves, may you place your loving arms around them. I ask for those who are on beds of sickness, those who will make their transition this day and in the night ahead, those who are simply lost and cannot find their way. May you place a light before them to guide them down their road. And finally, I extend a prayer to all those who are in the world suffering at this time, be it through war, famine, environmental causes. And I ask that you shine your light upon them also. This I say in the name of the one and only God in high heaven, you who are love, you who are light, you who are everlasting life. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jason, for that wonderful invocation. Now, friends, we're coming to the part of the service where we now pray for healing. And bringing in some of what Jason has prayed for this morning, I want to share some words from Harry Edwards. May I be thankful for all the blessings I already have. Grant me relief from pain, sickness. Protect me from all ills and grant me good health in the days to come. Remove all causes of imperfection. Bring your healing ministers close to me, that I may be conscious of their presence and receive guidance and inspiration. And as Jason said in his invocation today, we've had a very bad week in the world. We don't always have great weeks in the world, but we've had a very bad week in the world. And I'm especially mindful of what's happened in Plymouth in the United Kingdom and also in Kidderminster in the United Kingdom. I'm also wish to bring in the people of California involved by the fires, Haiti, Alaska, I said Plymouth, also the atrocities and horror that's going on in Afghanistan and Kidderminster. We also pray for my wife Jackie, who's not at all well at the moment. And we ask for my daughter Rachel and her baby Jack, Felix, John, Joe, whose mother's journeying towards the light, Shirley, Barbara, Tricia, Jasmine, Peter, Andy, and a dog called Carmen who has knee ligament problems. May their life in the countenance of the Spirit be with them, guide them, and strengthen them. And as Harry Edwards says in his prayer, may the healing ministers and guides get close and heal them of mind, body, and spirit according to divine law. So mote it be. Well, friends, can we now say the serenity prayer? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you. Can I also mention those of you that can donate to the Wimbledon Spiritualist Church? We have a PayPal account, and I thank you all from last week from the church that people were there at, and also those who sent online. You mentioned the PayPal account is www.paypal.com. PayPal me at /LAD promotions. That goes to the business arm of the church, our promotion arm that goes forward, and the money will come to the church and help with the building and repairs of both Wimbledon and our Hatbridge church. So we now ask for a few names to come up on screen. Morning, Christine. I'll just pray for Christine's dog. James, good morning, James. It's nice to see you. Name up there. Owen Williams, good morning. Wimbledon Church organist. George Wood, good morning, George. Good to see you. Chrissy Stewart, good morning and welcome to Wimbledon Church. Phil, good morning. Good morning, June. I hope you, Dave, and the family are all well. Claire Colbert, good morning and welcome. Corey Duffin, good morning and welcome to Wimbledon. Sue, good morning and welcome. Mara, good morning and welcome. Sue, good morning and welcome to the church. Kim, good morning. Kim is Christine Wooden's daughter, and she's one of the healers at church. Holly, good morning and welcome back to Wimbledon Church. Wendy Cleaton, good morning. Happy Sunday to you too. Tyler, good morning and welcome. Thank you for your kind words. Alison, good morning. Christine Davis, good morning and welcome. Julie, good morning and welcome. Lolis, good morning and welcome to Wimbledon Church. And Tracy, good morning. Hey, good morning. Okay, we're now going to have a wonderful reading from Jason, followed by his address.
Good morning to you. And thank you, Ray, for taking time out of your holiday to chair for me this morning.
Yeah, great honour, thank you.
The reading I have chosen comes from the Lyceum. Unfortunately, I do not have a choir to sing between conductor and Lyceum. So I am just going to read it as it flows as one reading. But I hope you can take something from it. It is called Truth. Truth is a soul's deepest and divinest connection. Our conceptions of truth unfold as a soul expands and approaches the more perfect standard, as it approaches the absolute. Seek ye the truth, for the truth shall make you free. For truth is God, and hath power sacred only unto him. A power that stirs a living soul of men, and lifts them up from lowliness to light. The truth shall make you free. For faith, strong faith, stands sterling sentinel upon the rock and tower of God's eternal purpose that is man. The truth shall make you free. For love, pure love, is God's divinest attribute, and wins all human hearts to learn and to keep divine law. And faith, hope, truth, that teach us to be free, to culminate and blossom all in love. For God is love. But we trust in him, and also be goodly gifts take root on us. The truth shall make us free. So I hope you like it. I don't know why I picked it, but I can turn it into an address of sorts. And truth is a very powerful word. I'm sure many people have heard the phrase, there are three versions of the truth: your truth, their truth, and the truth. And there is a singular truth. There can be no deviation from what is truth. But recently it has been something that has been inflecting upon me quite deeply, this notion of truth. We spend much of our lives lying to ourselves. It is a very strange thing to do. We are lied to by the world, and we are lied to by ourselves, because what we as humans do, and we cannot avoid doing it, is we react to things. We allow our emotions to guide us. Our emotions in some way are honest. They are probably the most honest part of us. But our emotions are inspired by a series of untruths. Sometimes we will say we are reacting in a certain way because a certain emotion is acting upon us, and thus that inspires our material action. It is very, very important in the development of the soul, in the development of your own life, to reach a point where when you feel an emotional response, you can go inside yourself and ask yourself, honestly, why am I doing this? What is the purpose of this? Where does it come from? And as we move in that way, and we ask ourselves why we are being what we are, we find sometimes that we have been dishonest and are deceiving ourselves. And when we get to the bottom of our deception, we find out a place of truth, a divine place that allows us to bring peace into our life, allows us to bring love into our life. For example, we often say when we grieve, we are grieving for the dead. And this is partially true, but also partially a deceit or a deception, because in reality, we are grieving not for the person that has lost their life and made transition. We are grieving for the future life that we ourselves have lost and what we want to hold on to. So when we grieve for one of our loved ones and say, oh, they won't be at my wedding, or they won't be at my birthday party, or they won't be there when I need them, none of that is grieving for them. All of that is grieving for us. And I won't go on too much further, but for example, if somebody offends you or upsets you, we react in a particular way and we say that we are justified in our actions because this is what they did, and thus this is the response that they have created, and they are deserving of my reaction. When in reality, what we should do when we feel offence or hurt is we should go inside ourselves, go within, find the divine self, the higher self, and say to it, where do these feelings of offence, of hurt come from? What has inspired them? Is it truly them? Or is it in fact a weakness or a fault inside ourselves that need to be addressed? And then when you address that place and you find the true full origin, you can say, actually, you can say to me what you like. It does not hurt me because I understand what you are touching, what you are triggering at this moment. And so much of our world, wars, disagreements, politics, all of them are created by untruths. And if we reach the truth of it, much of the evils that we faced in our life would disappear. And I would say this, controversial though it may be, though I'm inspired to give it, in relation to the circumstances that happened in Plymouth the other day and the gentleman who took the life of his family. There is a certain need, I find, whilst you will look on the news and on the media and you will see anger directed at this man, we should reserve ourselves from judgment of this person. And we should consider him to be as much a victim of his own crime as the people whose lives he has taken. And I know that is controversial, but somewhere in his lifetime, he has failed himself, society has failed him, his community has failed him, and he has then committed a grievous act on a series of failures to which he was as much a victim as anybody else. And this happens a whole world over, where people do great evil or great harm. We should take some time to send them healing and to offer them forgiveness, because they in time must need to forgive themselves. And I say this and I'll shut up. That gentleman took his life. He took the life of his loved ones. His loved ones will pass into the spirit world with clear conscience, a clear soul and a clear spirit, and be warmly welcomed. This man may in time be the same, but before that he will be asked to answer before his God and before his own divine self for what his actions are. And that is a hard day for any spirit, to stand there and look back and see the harm that you have done to the world. And I only hope he has inside his own spirit the capacity to forgive, and when he returns to this world in a reincarnated state, not commit the same painful actions again, so that he may learn and progress and one day find a peace to which all spirits and souls are eventually striving when they join with their God. And I leave you with that. There is an element of truth in his story as well. We have to just take time to find that truth. It's not necessarily easy, but you get there if you sit long enough and ask the right questions. And I leave you.
Jason, that was wonderful. You didn't need to shut up, because I think you spoke very well today, and you hit a lot of points that I've been saying privately, especially to do with the COVID and the anti-vax and stuff like that. I don't want to get into that today, but you know, people have opinions and they're entitled to their opinions, and it'll be their future life in the spirit that will sort that all out for us one way or another. And I'm talking about all sides. So that was very wonderfully put and wonderfully said. Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much indeed. And I really sincerely mean that. Friends, we're now coming to that part of the service where Jason's going to attempt to bring the two worlds just that little bit closer. And I would ask you to remember there's a 10 to 15 second delay. And if you're saying yes to something Jason is saying to you, please be clear what you're saying yes to. Just don't say yes, Jason, that's that. Be clear what you're saying yes or no to. And remember that 10 to 15 seconds delay. Jason, I know, will do his best to clarify everything he's getting for you. And there's so many people here, Jason, saying what a lovely address. And they understand your reasoning and rationale behind it. So wonderful. And Tess, one of our members, is saying you're 100%. So I would like to add, I'm very evangelical. Well said, brother. Well said. Amen to that.
Thank you very much.
I'll hand you back now to Jason, who will demonstrate the gifts of the Spirit. And remember, what you're saying yes or no to, be clear and concise. Thank you, friends.
Thank you. So yes, please don't say no just for the sake of it. I don't need that. I just need yes if you understand. It's all a bit jumbled up at the moment, but I have had one spirit particularly push his way through and is insistent on making connection. This young man who has drawn forward places himself in his earlier 20s, I feel. I want to be somewhere between 23 and 27-ish. He has made me acutely aware that he has taken his own life. That is not the topic we are here to have today, apparently. He has already made apologies for having taken his life. They have passed the name James across somewhere, and also the name Matthew, but these do not feel like they link to him as his name. The Matthew certainly doesn't, but the name James does feel like it connects around him. As he has done this, he has connected me on a friendship link rather than a family connection. So I don't believe this young man is a blood relative of yours. He is a friend or close acquaintance. And as he has come forward to bring light to you. He is saying that you have found yourself particularly confused at the moment and somewhat lost in your direction, not quite feeling what he felt at the time of his own passing, but definitely feeling somewhat stuck. He is making reference to a sister, but he is talking about two sisters. So he's saying his sister and you also having a sister. And I do need to send healing for a depression that is rearing its head on the earth at the moment, not with yourself, but immediately connected around you. Audrey Restrick, that's my son, his friend Matthew James. So we understand both names. That's fair enough. Can you understand, Audrey, why I want to talk about the idea, if this is connected with yourself, where this feeling of being lost is at the moment, where this lack of clarity is, and why he has come forward to bring light, particularly around where there is an element of depression. I don't want to place this depression as sort of being medically diagnosed, but it is certainly something that we have seen recently, and it has made us raise an eyebrow, if you would understand that, Audrey. I'm obviously aware there is a mild delay, and he is talking about these two ladies, one being his sister, and for some reason a lady who I feel drawn to be either your sister or your son's sister. So that would obviously be your daughter. And how there is an element of sending healing to one of these ladies because they are feeling somewhat trapped, I'm being made aware of at this present moment in time. They have just took me into the December month. Apparently December should be significant, and I do have to pass the name. What were you saying there? I feel like for some reason they told me to pass the name John, but they have also told me to pass the name Paul. Paul or Pauline, but I do need to pass that Pauline sound. Yes to all of it. So you understand all of it. I am aware that another lady said she can understand some of it. So if she can understand some, then that's you since that passing, Audrey. So long as you can understand what this is. I'm going to leave this gentleman in a way. He came through very clear and very, how do I say that? Very direct. Now, I do need to ask you to watch out for moths. I have no idea why there are moths, but he is insistent on somebody having seen a moth that's like the size of a small bird recently. So he can keep that to himself. He is talking about also where we have had on our side of life, there has been some form of night terror or nightmare recently, and where we have woken up in the night and found there has been a spirit presence with us. Paul is your brother, lovely, so long as you can understand why they want me to pass that name of Paul over. Can you just remember, I'm not feeling that you are going to understand these nightmares, but I do feel you know who is having them, and that you should also know who it is who has woken up in the night and felt the presence of spirit stood beside them. Now, I do have to just leave you with this. There is reference to somebody on the earth, an elderly lady, who is in ill health at the moment. And I do need to tell you that there is an angel watching over this elderly lady at this time. That is all I have on that particular topic. Apparently July should be important as well, but I am going to ask this. Sorry, somebody just threw a pen across my room, so that's fair enough. I'll leave you with the love, Audrey. I know Kaylee's just said she can understand part of it. If you can understand parts of it, please do take it. The message being that this young man is bringing the light of spirit to bring clarity, to bring upliftment, to bring some peace of mind. And I do have to add there are no apologies coming forth from him for the circumstances of his passing. He makes me very aware these apologies have already been had. They are no longer necessary. They are of no use to you particular at this moment. You keep the moth. Used to see spirit. July is your birthday. Lovely, Audrey. So long as you can understand those connections. And I do feel that has to sit with yourself for the July part, because I did ask him for your birthday. So thank you for putting that there. I do believe that's for you. Please take his love, take his light. Try not to kill the moth. And then we'll try and find somebody else, because there are a few people pottering about. I'll leave you with the love. There is a lady who is drawn near to me. This lady is very much a character. She is placing herself what feels like a grandmother. She is passing the number 48 or 84. The number is flipping on itself, so I can't pin it down exactly. As this lady is drawing with me, she has brought me 2 ailments. Now, it's a bit strange, really, because I don't know if she had both of them or they just relate around her. But one is the ailment of dementia. The other one is a condition of the lungs. And then she is saying she is also with a lady who passed in her sleep. Now, this lady who passed in her sleep does make me feel that she passed in her own house. But they are also talking about how there is a lady with us who was in a care home when she passed away. And I really do feel a strong need to mention the notion of dementia very, very strongly. The lady I have with me is quite witty. She was quite funny in her lifetime. She feels like she enjoyed life. I don't feel this is something that ever disappeared from her character. And when I ask her why she's here, she is here to bring joy. She wants to bring happiness. There are 2 ladies who keep inflecting themselves as her sister or her sisters. So I do need, and I'll run through that and hope somebody can take it. There is a lady who is talking about having dementia. With her, there is a respiratory failure. There is a lady who does feel that she got into her 80s, maybe on the edge of 90, who passed peacefully away in sleep. And she is connecting on what feels like grandma. They have placed, actually, I've got to say Nana. She is Nana, not Gran. And the names Betty and Mary should be in there somewhere. There is an S name as well, but I can't for the life of me find this S name. Christine, Marius, my mum passed in her sleep with dementia. Okay. Can you understand, Christine, at least where there are 2 ladies who would be with her in the spirit, one of very advancing years and another lady who passed either from a respiratory problem or a problem at least of the chest cavity, so that being heart failure or respiratory failure. Would you understand that, Christine? In her 80s. I'm assuming that means 80s and you've just missed the 0 off, because if your mum died at 8, that would be quite strange. And can you understand, Christine, the notion of why this lady has come to bring you joy at this time? And Tracy Honey, that's a lovely name, really, isn't it? You understand, and your nan, which was mum's mum. Well, let's find some more about this. Let's have a look with this. I do feel I need the Mary very much. I need the Mary to work. You know, Mary and Betty, Tracy, and Chris. Well, that doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form. It's the joy of this way of working, but it doesn't matter. We'll find something else. Okay, yes. So with these ladies, there is 3 things. Mum used to live at number 48. Well, that's a bit more concrete, Phil, because it is the 4884 that was the really important part of that. There should, however, be within the spirit a gentleman who died from what he's calling a cardiac seizure, which I assume means cardiac arrest, so a heart attack. But for some reason, he's calling it a cardiac seizure, which I think means he suffered with spasms of the heart. But there is also talk about somebody who either shot themselves or was shot. I don't know whether this is in the war or whether this is a domestic situation, but there should be memory in the family of somebody who was shot or shot themselves. That's really important part of there. There is a beautiful dog with this lady as well, a very soft-natured dog, something similar to the build of an Alsatian or a long-haired collie, but I do have to make reference to this very gentle-natured dog. Mary, Mum, Betty, Gran, brother-in-law shot himself. Well, I did ask. I'm praying to Divine Spirit that neither Phil nor the other lady is going to know anybody who shot themselves. But Christine, you would understand that particular connection. It's unlikely the other two are going to understand that. So, Christine, can I give you this gift of joy, this gift of upliftment? I need to make reference to the birthday in the August and a reference to the October. There should be significance to this. I need to give you, I know obviously Tracy's surname is Honey, but I need to give you, Christine, some honey. It's about happiness. It's about feeling sweetness in your life. It's also about divine love. Honey represents the gifts of heaven. So please take that, a jar of divine honey. Wonderful. That's okay. That's okay. I do need, for some reason, somebody should understand that the honey is also part of curing hay fever. We're not going to like dwell on that particular medicine or thing too long, but that is something that they do want to mention. Now, I've got a jack. You know when you're asking for something that's going to be a little bit more limited, and you get a jack. So I do need to also pass the. Oh my lord! There's a person in the window. So I just noticed that the window grew a spirit in it.
That's my wife.
I assume so. Just for a moment there.
Run off now.
Your sister is October, Christine. Well, what I shall do there is, if you can understand all of that connection with the jack, also you've been buying honey. That is lovely. It's a bit expensive. I don't recommend buying it from Tesco. It's overpriced. Take this gift of joy, Christine, and it is just a ball of joy to give you. If anyone else understands it and wants to take happiness from the spirit world, please just know that that energy is casting its way around. Now, let's have I'll just shift you that away for a second. So, Christine, Jack is your father's friend. Lovely. So if you can take that joy, Christine, please do. And Elaine, also, if you understand that, just know that the spirit world is a... Why are we talking about Ipswich? Ipswich. It's not Ipswich, is it? No. It's Isabel. So just moving on, I hope we're moving on. They're referring to the name Isabel or Isabella. It's not a name I get very often. And if it's not Isabel or Isabella, it is a relation to a village that has a cross on it, in its town centre. And that cross has to be relating to a queen, as was. Now I'm trying to think where these places are. Luton, Dunstable, that's those places. So yes, can I ask I know obviously it's a bit vague, but I either need a connection to the name Isabel or Isabella. I know obviously Isabel is the most likely, or a connection to places like Dunstable, Luton, etc. Those things that follow a particular, the southern road that goes from one side to the other. Debbie, Ace, you're assuming you understand the name Isabel. Let us find why we... Now, and Jack was your granddad, Debbie. Well, we'll see if we can work with this. Can we understand also, Debbie, where there was a gentleman who lost his wife? And I do believe the gentleman is in the spirit world now, as I've asked them to come forward. And there is this gentleman there, and he does make me aware that his wife passed before him. I do feel to say that they were very much in love, but Isabel. You understand the Isabel. That's strange. I also need to create a connection to dyslexia. There has to be a connection to dyslexia upon the earth plane. So child with dyslexia, Wootton Bassett. I don't even know where Wootton Bassett is. Wootton Bassett. Is it in Birmingham, that, or is it in the south?
I think Wootton Bassett's this part of the world where I am, Wiltshire, Gloucester.
Ah, okay.
Where they used to bring the dead soldiers back from war in the aeroplanes, and they used to do that parade.
They've told me to mention Wootton Bassett, so I need to be in that part of the world. So if anyone can,
memorial stone there, Jason.
Right. That makes more sense.
In the village, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry to
yeah. No, that's fine. Thank you very much, Richard. It was about the stone. It was about a stone that was. Yvonne, you understand the connection to Luton, and you understand the dyslexia. Do you understand, though, where would be the name Isabel? That is the thing that they did want to mention. And then also how they wanted to talk about a gentleman who survived his wife. She passed before he did. He has just said she passed of cancer. So I do feel that you should understand that connection. And then there is this connection to Worcester, Wiltshire, that part of the world as well, albeit it may be a somewhat distant family connection to that place. In fact, the family apparently is quite spread out along the southern part of our country, as they have just took me to Hemel Hempstead as well, which is really awkward. So I hope you'd understand that, Yvonne, if that connects to yourself, where they are saying it comes from one side of the country to the other, all scattered along that southern line. And yeah, if you could just wait there, my love, I am aware of you. What is the message that you would like to bring to these people? Now, I have to talk about a pair of earrings that were left from the spirit world. I'm not sure that you personally have these earrings, but we should understand. I also have just been told they are clip-on earrings, and if they're not clip-on earrings, they no longer work because their backs have gone. So that's those silly little pieces of metal that no man ever knows how to work, but you should understand that. Either earrings that have lost their clip at the back, or they were clip-on earrings, and they have been left in the spirit. They are what look like pearl drops of some description, and you should understand to this. There's lots of people who connect to it, so you're going to have to give me something a bit from Devon to Yorkshire, Yvonne. That's quite widespread. I don't like that message. Yvonne, if that connects to yourself, would you understand these two pieces of information? One piece of information relating to where on our side of life there has been issues in the ovaries or reproductive system of a lady, and also where you just lost me there. Where there has been a sense around you of people being somewhat untruthful or not quite. You have a picture with I have a picture girl with a yeah, okay. If you understand what I mean by the pearl earrings, that's fair enough. I didn't feel you had them, but if you at least know where the image of them is, that's fair enough. There is this talk about telling you to trust your instincts, trust your intuition, and that there is a feeling that somewhere around you, you have been aware of an untruth. That's not to say a lie. That's to say someone being Your daughter has just been diagnosed with cysts in the ovaries. If you can understand that, Yvonne, then that is quite, strong to be with you, because I asked them for something and they said sending healing to a problem in the ovaries or in the women's organs. So please just accept there is healing there for that, and that is obviously something that the family and the spirit. There's a lady who keeps shouting, her name is Margaret, at me, Yvonne, so I would hope you know Margaret. She has been shouting it and shouting it and shouting it, but when you're trying to get a clearer connection, passing a Margaret out to a group of 40 people is not necessarily going to help you. But I would hope. Oh, okay. Let's not do that, because that would make Margaret go a lot further than I need Margaret to fit. But you should know Margaret, possibly referred to as Peggy, possibly referred to as Maggie. Loads of gossip around you, untrue but hurts. That's fine. It's just, as I've been talking to this lady, she's been giving me a distinct bad breath. Now, I won't tell you what that breath smells of, but it is my sign for saying that somebody is telling things that are untrue, and that, what they are saying is not necessarily kind. And Margaret, that's fair enough. I've got to leave you with a block of cheese. I don't know why. What's the block of cheese about? Why the cheese? Okay, my lovely. Yeah, that's fine. Well, she might have been lovely and an Irish lady, but I didn't get her as an Irish lady. I just got the name Margaret. This cheese, there's a symbolism in this cheese. It's a bit bizarre, but it's about the message to you from this lady, Margaret, as she brought this piece of cheese forward, was to say, use your head, girl. Use your head. Do not react to these situations as best you can. Better to put something out there that leads people to shop themselves, I suppose. If you want to catch a mouse or a rat, what do? You leave a piece of cheese in the middle of the room and you'll soon find out whether you have a rat or a mouse problem. And this being symbolic, so somewhere in this, she is advising you to allow the rat to catch itself by giving it something that it can't resist. And I mean, I suppose, and I'll shut up here on this particular message, I suppose the best way to do that is where you sow an untruth yourself to a person who you suspect of speaking untruths about you, and see how far that message carries before it comes back to you, and then you find out who the person is who you told. Little bit of a trick that my gran used to use, actually. But that is your advice. That is the advice there from this lady, Yvonne. Give them a piece of cheese and see how long it takes to find out who has it on their lips. And you've had problems with rats. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Don't get a cat, Yvonne, because it doesn't work. My cat runs away from rats. And I shall leave you with the love, Yvonne. Apparently, I also have to just very quickly mention to you heart troubles. So people in the spirit world who did suffer with heart disease, apparently. Now, I'll leave you with the love, Yvonne, and I will move on to this other connection, which is very concerning, because I don't understand. I don't know how to word who you are. Okay, so there is a gentleman with me at this moment in time, and this gentleman is a soldier. And unusually for me, I'm a bit stuck with this soldier, because he makes me aware he died in war. He did not come home. He went to war and he died. And I can't decide whether, in the connection I have, I can't decide whether his body was brought back and we simply don't know where he is buried anymore, or his body was never returned to us. Yvonne, you understand the heart disease being your dad. If you would just accept the love of that gentleman, it was only a flying comment at the end of the link. But if you can understand that condition, please do so. So yes, so that is the connection at this moment in time. It is a man. He went to fight in the war. I do know other members of his family went to fight also. I am very emotional from this gentleman, and the one thing I am aware of is he went away to fight and he never came back. He died in battle. Now, the interesting thing is, I kind of am not, I'm not really feeling going to World War I or World War II, which is a bit strange. So I feel I want to go where there is a continued military connection in the family. Perhaps passings in one of the two world wars, but where there is still members of our family who are in the armed forces, because they are dodging me around various theatres. There should be an interest in your household relating to things of an Egyptian origin. So either pictures or paintings, portraits, statues of what appears to be.
It's Ray here, Jason. I've got a great uncle who's in France or Belgium.
Yeah.
Jackie, my wife, has a great uncle. Body is in France. And I've got a shelf full of Egyptian artifacts or bits and pieces in my office at church.
Ah, that's unusual. I wasn't expecting that.
I've got a very eclectic office.
No, I wasn't expecting it to come to you. I was thinking this is a message that wasn't going to go anywhere. But they were making reference to these Egyptian objects as being the sign of who to connect it to. And can we also understand then, Ray, where there was a lady who needed caring for at the end of her life? There is a woman just drawing into my energy, and I do feel she passed either at home or in care, but I feel more inclined to say at home.
She was in a home, my mother-in-law.
In a home. I'm glad
it's one of her relatives that died in. He's got a grave in France, Picardy.
Ah, okay. That's fair enough. And whilst I know obviously you are associated to Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, do you have connections to London more generally? Because she's just took me to Piccadilly Station or Piccadilly Circus.
Yeah, I used to work not far from there at one point.
Okay. Elaine understands Afghanistan. Oh, well, we'll see what this works with, Ray. How do we say that? Can we also understand, Ray, where a child went to the spirit world? I don't feel of your generational line.
My mother-in-law lost children.
She lost children because there is a child's energy with us in this connection. There is reference. Can you understand where one of those Egyptian objects makes reference to the sun god?
Yeah.
And have you any connections to Rhodes or Cyprus?
No, near to there, Malta.
Malta.
I've got friends in Cyprus.
Yeah, that's fair enough. There's a statue, and I just know this statue. There's two of them that I know of, and they're in Cyprus and Rhodes. Well, yeah, I can see rather the Egyptian sun god, but I can see Helios, who is the Greek god of the sun in Cyprus and Rhodes, which is a bit bizarre. Let me just try and understand where we're going here with this. If I said to Ray, the message that I've just been passed to give you, somebody needs to be careful about the amount of sugar they consume. So can you understand where there's at least diabetes or a need to be cautious?
Both Jackie and I are diabetic, type 2.
Okay, because I just got given a piece of very, very thin dark chocolate, and they were like, only very little. But if that's connecting to you, then that's... Can you place me the name of Thomas?
Yes, I can, very much so.
Yeah, lovely. And can we also... I I don't know whether it's a pen or a watch, but something left by a gentleman in a display case.
I've got lots of things in my bag.
And we should have there should be a Victoria Cross in the family.
No.
Let me find out which one it is. There is a medal. If it's not a Victoria Cross, we should know, or your wife, I would hope, would understand either where there's a medic or a medal for valour, which is sort of, you know, going back into action when you didn't have to.
No, I don't know that at all, to be honest.
Okay, let me find out why that it's stuck there. So I need to. It's something in a box. It's in a.
I've got actually have my dad's medals from the National Service, but they're not for valour.
This is very definitely about. Okay. I can twist it slightly. If you understand at least the notion of medals, I have to give you an award. It is about giving you thanks. And not necessarily for anything to do with spirit, but to do with your marriage and to do with your family. And so where you have been brave and you have helped your family and you have been there to support them through difficulty, if you can accept that.
I do in a way, yeah.
In a way.
We're celebrating 44 years together, Jackie and I.
That's fair enough. Well, you deserve a medal for that.
Well, I think she does more than me. She needs the Victoria Cross and the Jules Cross.
It's fine. I have to award this medal. So if that's 44 years together, then that's a medal-worthy achievement in itself. And I have to just mention to you can I give you the month of February as being significant?
Yes.
And can I give you also the month of April and the month of July as significant?
Yes.
And I feel this message partly is to say, you know, congratulations for that anniversary. I should be able to give you a John or a Joseph, but I can't determine which name it is. It just came as Joe.
I'm dealing with somebody called Joe on Earth at the moment with something to do with church. And there's a John in the spirit as well.
And there's a John in the spirit. That's fair enough. And the other part of this message is to say, I'm trying to get the words out. Where you have sent your thoughts up for other people and you are more worried for them than you are worried for yourself, please just know that the spirit has heard and is trying to deal with this issue for you, where you have offered your healing thoughts. And I know obviously you mentioned people in your opening prayer, but I mean, I feel that extends wider. So it is for other people that you have concerns for.
That's a number of people, the anti-vaxxers and the way they treat people and that sort of thing.
I just have to say that they're saying they have heard your prayers and they are working where they can on helping that, and also on helping heal physical ailments upon our side of life. Why do you keep talking about Elaine? Elaine. It's not. There's another name and it's not quite right. Can you place me in Elsie?
Yes.
And just finally, healing to somebody who's been having issues in their feet. I don't know what that is, but they are just saying there's healing for the feet. And I leave you the love of that connection. And please just know that your message very much is that the healing that you have asked for is being administered either as physical healing or as, clarity of opinion.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking that message. It's not often get soldiers who died in war. Let's find somebody else to talk to. Do we know Joan, Ray?
I know Joan, yeah.
I just have to pass Joan or Joanne as a name, but Joan was the way it came across.
Yeah.
And I leave you with the love of the Spirit, and thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you, Jason. Bye-bye.
And healing to the back as well, healing to the bottom of somebody's back. Somebody's suffering with spinal issues. Now, this young energy has been, this is a morning for young men for some reason. This young man is different to the others, though. No one died in war, nobody took their life. This is a young man who connects with me. And as he does so, one thing I know about him, and I apologise for wording it in this fashion, is that he is severely disabled. Severely. And his passing is brought on quicker. His life ended many years before it should do, by serious physical disability. I feel to say there is a mild amount of issues with the mind, but not a great amount of them. I am going to try and stop saying because it's getting on my nerves and I sound like a Buddhist. But I do need to make reference to who would understand a young man in the spirit world, and he passed before he should have done, but his passing is partially attributed to the fact that he was disabled, either seriously physically or mentally. I don't want to say the word that I've got there because I can't, it feels inappropriate. Or had a mental issue. There is part of that. There is with it. His mind is slightly disturbed, but his body is more so. Is what that feels like. And I feel very strongly to say Emma Jane Divine understands that, and anybody else at all understands that connection. Kim Byrne, you can understand that. Kim, can you understand? Debbie Ace as well, you understand. Well, we'll find out a bit more about this young man. One thing about this young man that I do know is he's with a lady in the spirit world, and as this lady is there is a feeling of the name Elizabeth connecting in the spirit. There is also reference to how this young man wants to send healing to his mother, because obviously he passed before she did. He does make me feel that he had quite difficulty in walking. His toes are either deformed or not workable. Tracy Hall, you understand? What a lovely picture you've got there, Tracy. It's not very spiritual, but never mind. You understand? Can you understand as well, Tracy, if it connects to yourself, that your mum is still on the earth? Can you understand the name Elizabeth as well? He is really here to talk about his mum. And Emma Jane, you can understand the Elizabeth. Okay. And you can take his mum, because I need his mum to still be here, really. This is what he wants. He wants to send his love to his mum. There also has to be a degree of spiritual activity in your house. Yes, in a chair, because it's something about his toes. He keeps twisting my toes. But there also has to be this large amounts of spiritual activity, physical activity. Emma Jane, if you can take it all, please, just keep saying yes. Try not to say no if you can. But do say no if you don't understand anything. It's about physical activity. Whilst I've been sat here today, 3 or 4 times, various objects in this room have decided to cast themselves off the table for no apparent reason. And so that has to be something that is there. There wants to be healing on the earth for anxiety and anxiousness. And they said anxiousness. There is healing for what feels like frustration about something that has not been moving forward properly. And I also need to make reference in the family where there is which one? Well, I gathered you're a spiritual medium, Emma, from the part that says divine talk. It'd be a very strange surname. But Emma, can you understand the lung cancer in the spirit also? And there's a lady coming who is not part of this connection, and she's about to interrupt me, but she's on her way. Can you understand that, Emma? The message, I'm going to leave this message where it is, because this young male energy's body is quite, it's in a lot of discomfort, and working clairsentiently is creating a lot of discomfort in myself. I do need to pass the name David, and I also need to pass the name Michael, as I've just made a bit of a sort of maneuver to leave this young man behind. I actually feel part of this young man's energy. His lungs are also not working in necessarily the way they should have done. And his speech is also not working in the right way, in a fashion. I also know, how do I say this part? Oh God, I'm going to get upset myself there. I want to say, you understand the lung cancer. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to a lady on the earth, not just my mum, but another lady. And I need to say thank you for just seeing me as I was, not seeing me as an illness or a series of problems. There is a huge thank you for just seeing this young man as another light or another soul. No need to look at what the body had done, what was imperfect, I suppose, in the body, and seeing more the perfection of the spirit. That is really part of, you understand, severely handicapped. And you understand David and Michael. And I mean, I don't like that word. I've been trying to avoid that word, albeit it has been the word that has been flying back and forth in the connection. That is the message. That is that message. It's such a, you have to forgive me, for me, myself personally, it's something rather beautiful. But he's saying thank you for seeing the perfection inside me, rather than the imperfection outwardly. And that goes to a lady. So if that is you, then please take that. I mean, there's something lovely inside that. There is something lovely in that. Thank you for seeing me, not what the outside had. And I'll leave you with that. Yes, there are other words. Emma, thank you. But please just take that thanks. Take the message to his mother if you're able, just to say that he loves her. But thank you also to just seeing the true him. And I thank you for speaking with me. Let's try and find somebody else that's there. What about what rabbits are? I always get nervous when the spirit world starts talking about rabbits. Why? Okay. That's a bit strange. I've got to give. Oh God, heaven! I have to give a reading from a rabbit. There is a albino rabbit in this connection, and I'm no good at talking to rabbits. I don't do talking to dogs or cats too well, but I have to talk to somebody from a red-eyed white rabbit, and it's a buck, so it's a boy rabbit. He's quite a large boy rabbit. He had God help me. it was a bad-tempered white rabbit as I listen to this, because I keep hearing his feet thumping on the floor, so I know he was quite an opinionated rabbit. Can anyone understand that at all? A connection to a rather large white male rabbit who could be very lovely, but could also be quite ill-tempered. And I'm not saying it's yours, I just would like somebody to say they understand a dead white rabbit. And I'll give you a few seconds because I haven't got anything else. I'm not even sure that I could ask a rabbit for Jilly Bean Howler. You and a huge white rabbit that got stolen. Can you understand it being a boy? Thumper, Dominique Smith. It has to be a white rabbit though. It can't just be a big rabbit. It has to be a big white rabbit with the pink eyes. And I do feel it needs to be a boy, and the thumping is important. And thumped his back legs. All right. Well, I'll go with this. So since it seems a fair few people have a dead rabbit, let's try and find out. My daughter had a leg white. We'll just try and find out what they want to talk about. What do I do with a rabbit? Right, okay. So this rabbit, as I've asked it what it wants, it has given me the name Sarah. Beyond the name Sarah, I don't know what to do with that. There is reference to in the spirit world where there is another energy who is drawing closer to us slowly, who had problems in the tummy region. So I do need to feel a connection in the family to bowel cancer or pancreatic cancer. And the message, because I'm going to leave this message where this is, I'm really not comfortable giving the message from a dead rabbit, is about sending healing for anxiety on the earth at the moment. And I asked this rabbit what else it wants to bring, and it wants to bring a gift of confidence. So to you who can accept it, I need a connection to that name Sarah. Somewhere in the family should be a Muriel or an Anne, but it has come as Muriel or Anne. How, I don't know. And there is this need for anxiety healing, and also this reference to stomach issues in the spirit world with a lady. It is a lady who passed on this problem. And the gift is confidence. Dominique Smith, you understood the rabbit, you understand the Sarah, you understand the pancreatic cancer. Can I give you then, Dominique, this healing for anxiety on our side of life? And I feel this anxiety creates physical anxiety. And then I do need to just mention passing this gift of confidence and strength of character to the earth plane. So somebody who just needs more energy in how to speak their mind and how to speak their truth, going back to the philosophy at the beginning. I have to cut this short because there is a lady who is intruding on my mind, and I do just need to get this lady's message across, which is a lady who died last year. So if you need the healing for Anne, if you can understand bits of that connection and you understand the Sarah, then Julie, please take that and just know that they are sending healing for where there is anxiety and we're on the earth. There is a lady who has joined me though. She came and then she went, and now she's come back. This lady, she passed with complications with COVID-19. Now, over the weeks and months ahead, we're going to find a lot of these things happen as people work through their grief and the spirit world begin to send these people back. But this is a lady Now, as she places herself with me, she is making me feel she is on your mum's side of the family, to the point where I'm torn between whether she is your mum or whether she is your aunt. But I know that the main part of this is there is another underlying health issue, but she is saying she passed from complications of COVID-19. She has taken me into the month of September and October. I do not know whether this is about a passing in the September, October of last year, or whether this just relates to September, October as a birthday or an anniversary that is historically important to the family. Apparently, I should be able to go to July and to April, also as birthdays in the family. Thank you, Deborah. If you understand bits and pieces of that, they're struggling to speak, etc., please just take what you can from that, and take the love of the spirit in whichever way you find it there. Yeah, that is what I have at this moment in time, ladies and gentlemen. I have a lady who is either your mother or your aunt, and she died last year from COVID-19 complications. And she's very serious in saying that it's not passing from coronavirus itself as such. It is complications with it. She is saying she was greeted by two men in the afterlife. One of these men connects on an uncle connection, and one of them I do feel connects as a husband or prior partner. Her dad is also in the spirit world as well. We should understand this. Michelle Harris, your sister died in the January. Michelle, whilst I do want to, I want to get what I'm saying to be correct, I do need to say, can you understand the information though, where there is her dad in the spirit world, so that's your sister, your dad, and can you understand why there are two men also with her apart from dad? So there's your father, and then there are two men with her also. One of them who feels they connect to her as a friend or partner, the other one who feels connects as a brother or uncle to her. And there is another lady, I can't quite find the other lady at the moment, but and that connection to the September, October, either as birthdays or anniversaries, passings, but they do feel significant. I just, both dads in spirit and brother, so you would understand why that comes in that way. Her message is a very, very, very simple one. There is an idea of forgive yourself. So where we were not able, where somebody was not able to be with her at her death, to forgive physically ourselves for that. It's not our problem. We can't do anything about it. She understands this. There is talk also in the family of where there is a ring that does exist in the family, so passed down from the spirit. And then there is talk of a ring that should have been passed from the spirit, but was not passed. So we don't know where it is. Your mum and your gran are both up there. Can we understand that, Michelle, though? That about... can you understand that about where there is a ring from the spirit and then a ring that is not here anymore, but should have been here? Would you accept that? And whilst I do that, I'm just going to slightly shift because apparently my battery is about to disappear. The message is a very simple one, though, Michelle. It is love, that she wants to bring forgiveness and love. Let's just try. I do apologise, Ray. The wonders of technology. It should have clicked itself in. A lot of jewellery's gone missing. So long as you would understand where the reference is. She keeps saying there's something missing on her finger. So I know it has to relate to that concept of stuff either being missing or misplaced, misappropriated. But Michelle, if you understand this later and the complications with COVID-19, rather than actual passing from it, the message is that she loves you. She has come back to say she loves you, but to rest easy, that she was well met in the spirit world by this bunch of gentlemen who came to lead her into transition and into the afterlife, and that there was a lady stood close by at the time who was there with her also as she made transition. I hope you can understand that. She has just mentioned the month of December as being important to her. And what's that next part of that connection? Michelle, can you place me just very quickly as possibly an unnecessary piece of evidence, but do you know who had either a benign tumour or a cancerous condition that they overcame? So where they had a tumour or a lump, other such thing, and it was removed. Now the thing is, I feel that partly relates to our side of life. So somebody on the earth plane who has had that issue and is still alive, and is fine now. I do feel to say they are totally fine. But I also feel I need to make reference to that in the spirit world. So somebody who had a cancerous condition, had it treated, had it cut out, or had it operated on, only to then find, I do feel it returned at a later date. If you would understand that, and you understand that, assuming that's what the yes very relates to. But I do feel it is. I have to stress. I feel it relates to both sides. Somebody on our side who has had this issue but is fine. Somebody on the other side who has had this issue but is obviously now deceased because it was no longer fine. But it was for quite some time afterwards. Why are you talking about Ambrose? Ambrose. I don't know what you mean. Would your mum had lung cancer? She got rid of it. She's passed. So you understand that. You understand the cancerous condition. She is the lady then who is obviously up there creating that, having had cancer, treated it, and then it, etc. I'll leave you with the love of the spirit, and thank you for speaking with me. Just know that you're going to have to call you to time now. Yes. Thank you. I just take the love, Michelle, there of that lady. Just know she was warmly received by her family.
Just going back to my message, Jason, my Jackie overheard it. When my present new grandson was born, Jack, he's named after two World War I people that passed to the spirit. And we've recently just brought in some medals, World War I medals, on behalf of my wife's uncle who passed away. And also my great uncle's medals were stolen.
Okay.
There is a connection there, and my Ashley wears my father's National Service medals on Remembrance Sunday when he's on duty up at London.
Lovely.
So there's a great massive big link there. Just wanted to share.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for that.
He did emphasise very strongly she deserves a Victoria Cross being married to me for 40 odd years.
Yes. There is, yeah. Most people get a life sentence or a medal, one of the two options.
All we often say as a family, she must have a bad karma.
Well, yes. Who was she in a past life?
Yeah. So thank you very much, Jake. It's been a wonderful morning. It really has. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you,
Richard. We got some adverts, please, for today. Never be afraid. Pleasure's evening tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please join that. VIP members. That's a very good afternoon, friends. You should join that. And the Wimbledon Friendship Club. That's going quite well, thanks to Richard. Yeah. Please do. Oh, Lawrence, hello. Relevant. Interesting. Thought he'd been quiet lately. That's great, he's joined you. Oh, well, that's nice. Ollie, yes. Well done. Animal communication special. Wonderful, wonderful. And I know Richard and Ashley have been chatting about the things to do at Wimbledon over the next few months or weeks or whatever, and we've just got to finalise that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us in that virtual service today. Jason, it's been a great pleasure to meet you and have you here with us this morning. And I heard of all the psychic activity going on in your room. You had a lot going on. It really was quite incredible. And I would now ask Jason to close our meeting with prayer, please.
Yes, thank you. It's only a short one, but if you could just go in the silence briefly. And as you do so, just allow the energy of the Spirit to return within you. And I say these words: may the light of the Spirit shine within you and through you. May its healing energy fill your heart. May its wisdom guide you, and may its love enfold you. And may the peace of the Spirit bless you now, forever, and all the days of your life to come. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Just one more notice. I've had a couple of texts throughout the service. Jackie is still poorly. She's not the best of health, but she is improving. Spiritual healing is going to be returning to Sunday mornings at Wimbledon. We've got a couple of healers already lined up. We're just waiting for them to be free. And next week's medium, according to my diary, is my son Ashley. And we've got an event on after that as well in the afternoon. So everybody, we'd like to thank you once again, Jason. We also like to thank Richard James of Spiritual Psychics TV for his work and effort for the cause of not only Wimbledon Church, but the spiritual and psychic world. And ladies and gentlemen, especially I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon. May your God go with you until we meet again. Goodbye.